Nerve injury, position of the hand and fingers. When you examine a patient with a nerve injury, if you look at the hand, you may be able to determine what kind of nerve injury the patient may have. So in an ulnar nerve injury, you may have a clawhand, you may have Wartenberg sign, and the patient may not be able to cross the finger. And you may have wasting of the first interosseous muscle. Injury to the ulnar nerve may produce a clawhand deformity, especially if the injury is below the elbow. That flexion of the fingers or clawing of the fingers occurs due to a functional profundus muscle for the fourth and the fifth fingers. So the profundus is working for these fingers. But the intrinsics that straighten the fingers are not working. And the reason they are not working, because they are supplied by the ulnar nerve. So the profundus will take over and causes clawing of the fingers. Clawhand is a permanent position of hand at rest, and it's seen only when there's an active attempt to flex the fingers. And when the hand is relaxed or extended, the claw appearance disappears. In the distal ulnar nerve injury, you lose innervation to all the interossei and the ulnar two lumbricals. What is Wartenberg sign? It is an abduction of the fifth finger. The Wartenberg sign is due to an ulnar nerve injury and consists of abduction of the fifth finger caused by the unopposed action of the ulnar insertion of the extensor digiti quinti, which is radial nerve innervated. There's also loss of the fifth interosseous muscle, which is innervated by the ulnar nerve. The unopposed action of the extensor digiti quinti causes the finger to rest in a more abducted position. So why that happened? Because the interosseous muscle that abducts the finger is not working. It is the palmar interosseous muscle, the palmar pad. It occurs due paralysis of the palmar interosseous muscle that abducts the little finger. The patient will be unable to cross the middle and the index finger as a result of ulnar nerve injury. Abduction of the fingers come from the dorsal dab interossei. This is a patient example of Wartenberg's sign. What is Froment test? Froment test is used frequently to test for palsy of the ulnar nerve, which may occur with entrapment of the ulnar nerve within the cubital tunnel syndrome. You can see in the picture a representation of a positive Froment test. So the Froment test, you will test for the ulnar nerve when pinching a piece of paper between the thumb and the index finger. The thumb IP joint will flex if the adductor pollicis muscle is weak due to an ulnar nerve palsy. You can see this is a patient hand on the left and the examiner hand on the right. And this is a scenario of a normal ulnar nerve. And this is a scenario of an ulnar nerve injury where you see flexion of the thumb. How about the median nerve injury and the anterior interosseous nerve injury? The anterior interosseous nerve is a branch of the median nerve. A patient with a high median nerve injury or an anterior interosseous nerve injury can have two signs, the Benedictine sign, and the patient cannot do the OK sign. Prolonged compression or injury of the median nerve may result in the hand of benediction. The sign of benediction is seen in patients with a high median nerve injury. The sign of benediction is an active sign. Occurs when a patient with a high median nerve injury is trying to make a fist. In sign of benediction, due to a high median nerve injury, there will be paralysis of the flexor digitorum superficialis, the flexor pollicis longus, the flexor pollicis brevis, the radial half of the flexor digitorum profundus. So the only remaining flexor that's functioning is the ulnar half of the flexor digitorum profundus, which result in flexion of digit 4 and 5. The other digits remain extended. So what happened is the first and the second digit will have difficulty in flexing, while the other digits, 4 and 5, will flex. The third digit appears to be weak. The hand will assume the Benedictine sign or sign of benediction. The hand of benediction is different from an ulnar clawhand. The ulnar clawhand refers to damage to the ulnar nerve below the elbow and is seen when the patient is attempting to extend all digits, leaving the fourth and the fifth digits flexed. The claw hand and ape hand are default positions of the injured hand at rest. In the normal hand at rest, digits 2 to 5 assume mild flexion position and all will be in the same dorsal ventral plane due to the action of the thenar muscles. In a median nerve injury, the thenar muscles are paralyzed, so the thumb will be pulled more dorsal by the action of the abductor pollicis, which is an undernerve innervated muscle. So the thumb will be in the same plane as the other digits. All the digits lined up in the same dorsal ventral plane resembles the hand position of lower primates. That's why they call it ape hand. The OK sign. The OK sign is a test for the anterior interosseous nerve injury. The OK sign is used to check for injury of the anterior interosseous nerve due to entrapment or compression. The patient with paralysis of the anterior osseous nerve will be unable to make the OK sign. This is a typical pinch attitude associated with an anterior interosseous nerve injury, as you can see here. This occurs due to paralysis of the flexor pollicis longus muscle and the lateral part of the flexor digitorum muscle. Both are innervated by the anterior interosseous nerve. How about the radial nerve injury and the posterior interosseous nerve injury? Let's take the radial nerve. Injury to the radial nerve will cause wrist drop. A high radial nerve palsy will cause wrist drop. High radial nerve injuries usually occur due to fractures of the distal third of the humeral shaft, and it is called Holstein-Loos fracture. The fracture will cause injury to the radial nerve, which will result in paralysis of the wrist and finger extensors. So the patient will not be able to extend the wrist or extend the fingers or the thumb. So the patient will not be able to hitchhike or do finger extension. A low radial nerve injury usually occurs around the elbow, and it will affect the fingers and thumb extension, and that's called posterior interosseous nerve injury. Here is a case of posterior interosseous nerve injury. You can see the wrist is extended, but there is loss of finger extension. If the patient does not have a wrist drop and still cannot perform hitchhike sign, Then check the patient for posterior interosseous nerve injury. This is an example of a patient partially recovering from a radial nerve injury. Recovery of wrist extensors, but finger extensors are not yet recovered, is a sign of posterior interosseous nerve injury that is not recovered yet. Thank you very much. I hope that was helpful.